You went to Fordham, and I know a couple of guys that went to Fordham, Ryan Rucco being one of them, who works for ESPN and the S Network. So tell us a little bit about your college days in Fordham as a pitcher over there.
I actually loved Fordham. I'll be honest, at first, I think everybody's the same way. Like, they're kind of iffy with college. I was a little iffy about it at first, but then after the first year, I absolutely loved it. I had such a fun time my junior year. We made a regional, everything. There was like a point in time I was like, I don't even know if I want to like leave. You know what I mean? But like, it obviously, like, when I think about it, like, it was always my dream to play pro ball. So like, obviously I had to go. But I love Fordham. Fordham's awesome. It's a great program. They're definitely on the rise. They got a great facilities. Everything's really good. I loved it a lot.
Fordham being in the Atlantic 10, not a Power 5 conference, but again, one of the conferences that aren't far behind that. Who are some of the toughest teams you faced and even hitters you faced in the A10 in those conference games?
I'd say VCU was probably, other than us, I think was the best team. Rhode Island, we had a lot of good games against Rhode Island. The hitters, we actually did have my freshman year. We had Deion Stafford. He was probably like the biggest hitting prospect I faced in our conference. I don't know if you guys know him.
I actually know who he is. Yep.
Yeah, he went to St. Joe's.
Mm-hmm.
He's like I think 4th or 5th rounder or something.
Yep.
He was probably the biggest prospect from our conference that I ever faced. But we had a lot of actually good hitters in our conference. Like, there was a lot of good guys from there's a couple from VCU. Zach Ching was good. He's a really good hitter. He's our shortstop. Then their second baseman. And then there was a couple of good guys from St. Louis. Logan Driscoll from Mason.
I know Logan, Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was probably the best. He was the second rounder. He was probably the best hitter other than Deion that we faced. We actually got a pretty good conference.
What is it like playing for a major league team? You grew up wanting to be a major league pitcher, and your background, I mean, you're from Long Island. You see all these Long Island kids get drafted in the NHL, and some from the NBA. A couple of good NBA players have come out from Long Island. What is it like being drafted from a small town and really a small island and having the opportunity to play for a professional team?
I'm actually really proud to be here. I love Long Island. Like, I love coming back here. I love coming home in the off season. And that was one of the things that, like, kind of always drove me. Like, when I was younger, people used to always say, like, oh, it's so hard, like, Northeast, like, Long Island guys, like, nobody really gets seen out here. Like, 'cause it's like, everybody's like, you gotta go south, gotta go west. And when I got drafted, like, I was, like, proud of myself that I was able to, like, kind of get through, like, those stereotypes. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And because I heard it all the time growing up. And, like, it was always kind of like, when I was younger, I was like, oh, damn, damn, I'm not gonna, like, maybe I won't get the chance. And then, like, my dad was really good with that. He was like, don't ever listen to, like, people who say that, like, you can do whatever you want. And obviously worked out.
I like your father already.
Yeah,
I don't even know him. I like him.
He's awesome. Yeah, he's awesome.
What is your best pitch and your favorite pitch to throw?
Well, my best pitch is definitely my fastball. Everything works off of that. My strikeout pitch I've actually been working on it a lot. My slider it was great in college. When I got the pro ball, I kind of lost it a little bit. And I've been working on it ever since, but I think I've been working on it, especially during quarantine. I've had a lot of time to work on it. It's gotten a lot better. It's definitely going to be my strikeout pitch when we get back. And the changeup it's part of my repertoire. It's probably my third best pitch, but I still got full confidence in it, like I do my fastball and slider.
Kyle, when the Orioles drafted you, what did they want you to be? Did they tell you they wanted you to be a starting pitcher? MLB is kind of transitioning into that relief pitching, that opener, where there's a bunch of pitchers coming in, 5, 6, 7 pitchers throughout the game, and they're trying to save money where they don't have to pay guys like Garrett Cole $39 million to come to their team. So are they going to use you as a relief pitcher or a starting pitcher?
They don't, like, say specifically what you're going to be. They kind of just, like, put you in different situations, see how you do it. But I've always been a reliever, and they've never really hinted to me at starting. And I'm completely fine with that. Like, I'm fine being a reliever. I love relieving. I see adrenaline rush is awesome. But everything that they've said is reliever oriented, so I think I'm gonna probably stick with that.
What aspect of pitching do you watch for the most when you pitch? Do you rely on spin, movement, velocity? What do you think of the most?
The thing I think of is just the aggressiveness, the intent. You can't really worry about, like, your spins and your velocity while you're pitching, because then you'll get in your own head. You'll start babying the ball, you know what I mean? Start throwing the ball all over the place. So my biggest thing is really just intent. Like, no matter if the guy hits it, my mentality is, oh, he got lucky, I'm going to still go at him with my next best thing, you know what I mean? And yeah, so, like, really just the intent, that constant attack is my mentality, and I think it's a good mentality to have.
The Orioles, and this is an organization that hasn't won for many, many years. They were a great team in the early 80s and in the mid 70s. They haven't been a good organization. They had guys like Manny Machado, and they've built around young prospects, but they can't seem to keep their prospects in-house. What are your thoughts, obviously playing for an organization like the Orioles, and where do you see yourself in the next 3 or 4 years, maybe moving up to the MLB?
Well, the Orioles, obviously, they're going through a rebuild right now. They've had a couple tough years, but we got great player. We got a whole new player development system, all new coaches, everything. So everything's really on the rise. We got a lot of young, good guys. Obviously, had the number 1 overall pick last year. But everything, I think the future is very bright. I definitely see myself moving up the ladder, personally, but you can't really worry about that. You kind of just gotta keep doing what you're doing and, play how you pitch, and those things will work out themselves.
Talk about that number 1 overall pick and Adley Rutschman, who was the number 1 overall pick and elevated himself already to
Speedy's in love with him.
Elevated himself already to, I think, a top 10 prospect already. What have you seen or heard about him that caused him to be able to make that kind of jump right away? Because normally it takes 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. Honestly, they put him in shorts. Everybody thought everybody was trying to play manager, oh, where are they going to put Adley? But he came right to Aberdeen in short season, and he played with us for about, I think, a month and a half, and he did really well. He's a really good dude. He's humble, he's a hard worker. He deserves it. And he was cool with the guys, and they love him. I mean, he's a very good. I got to throw with him a few times. He's a very good catcher. Obviously, he's got something really good. But no, he's going to be very good. I think he'll be very good. He's going to keep moving up the ladder, and I think the Orioles definitely made the right choice by picking him.
Kyle, there are many pitchers in the major leagues, and you're a young kid, and growing up, there's a pitcher in mind that you wanted to implicate your style of pitching towards. I mean, there was Kurt Schilling, Randy Johnson, David Cohn. I mean, I don't know if you're a Yankee fan or a Met fan. Maybe you wanted to be like a Met pitcher or a Yankee pitcher. Jacob deGrom, if you're a Met fan. Is there a particular pitcher that you kind of base your style of pitching like in the major leagues?
I'll be honest, there's not really anybody I'd like to mold myself after, because I think everybody's their own pitcher. But the one guy I was a big Mets fan growing up. All
right, we're hanging up the phone right now.
No, we're
not. I always loved watching Tom Seaver. He's kind of an old-fashioned guy, but I always watch stuff with him. Just it really wasn't even about his repertoire. It was really about just his intent. I love the way he just pitches. And another guy, I love Kurt Schilling. I think Kurt Schilling's a great pitcher. I love watching the Hodge have been pitching against the Yankees in the World Series. And then obviously Scherzer, all those guys. But really, I just like to look at guys that have I like guys that have high intent, like Max Scherzer. I love that. I think that constant attack is a very good thing to have.
Kyle, in terms of pitches that you might want to add in terms of your pitching arsenal, what pitch do you think would help you, or even multiple pitches that would help you grow to the next level?
I'll be honest. I'm pretty much set with my 3 pitches, my fastball, slider, and changeup. I've messed around with the curveball, but being a reliever, you don't really need 4 pitches. And so I do actually have a curveball. I do break it out every once in a while when I need it, but I've only really had to rely on my fastball, slider, mostly my changeup, mix it in, and my curveball every once in a blue moon. But mostly, I would say curveball, but I really just stick with those 3 pitches.
There are a lot of great hitters in the league right now. Mike Trout being one of them, who was just completely dominant, has dominated the league for the last 6 years, and has won 2, 3 MVPs.
He's won 2 MVPs, and I think he's won 3 MVPs, and he was second or third every other year, except for the 1 year he got hurt.
There you go. Just domination. Is there a particular batter or hitter that you want to pitch against if you ever came into the major leagues?
I've always wanted to face Harper. I don't know why. He was just
you want to throw it at him. You want to throw it at him.
It's not that. He was that huge prospect. Mike Trout, obviously, I think is the best, ever. But I never really. The thing is, he came from he wasn't you never heard about him. He wasn't a huge high school prospect. He obviously was. He went in the first round, but you just never heard about him like Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper had all these home run videos and all that stuff. And that was kind of when I was younger. When I was 12, 13 when he was coming up. And so I think that would be really cool to face him.
Is there any hitter on your team, or any just player in general on your team, that you're looking forward to playing against if you come up to the major leagues with the Orioles anytime soon? Is there any player you're looking forward to?
Are you talking about somebody in Aberdeen?
Or in the system that may come up at the same time as you?
I'll be honest. Yeah, it would be cool to face Adley, obviously. You got Toby Welk. He was an awesome hitter for us in Aberdeen. That'd be cool to face him. No, there's nobody really in particular that I'm like, oh, I'm dying to face, but like, I mean, I would face, anybody really. Like, there's nobody that really, probably Adley would stick out of anybody.
There's a guy sitting right next to me who I sometimes can't stand. And his name, we call him Speedy Petey because he talks very fast and he looks like Pete from Pete's Dragon. So we've been calling him this for the last 3 or 4 years. And I don't know if you were alive for the 1979 Pete's Dragon, but if you actually checked out, the picture of what Pete looks like from Pete's Dragon, that's Speedy Petey right over here. But if we actually tied him up, okay, and we tied him to a tree like a piñata, and you had a chance to throw one pitch at him, any kind of pitch, what kind of pitch would it be?
I'm going to Heat. Sorry, Pete.
He's just sitting here. He's like, oh, you did this to me. You did this to me.
In terms of the Cape Cod League that you also played in addition to your college career, do you think that there is a significant advantage with playing in a summer league like that in comparison, even your college career or some minor league systems that are lower within the major league organization? Do you think there's any significant advantage to that?
Yeah, it's actually where you asked. I was playing Fortnite with one of my buddies last night, and we were actually talking about this. The Cape actually, I didn't actually do that well in the Cape, but it was really because I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that I was a small school guy, and it was my first time really playing against big school guys. Like every time in the Cape, they would always be like, now batting, yada, 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 from Stanford or Mississippi State. And that, I feel like that kind of like made me it kind of like, you know what I mean? Like it kind of took away like that confidence, you know what I mean? And that's what I rely a lot of confidence in, like in my pitching. And I feel like I kind of shied up a little bit, didn't attack guys as much as I should have. And I think playing in the Cape really, towards the end, I got a lot better with it. But I feel like playing the Cape really prepared me for, it really gave me that confidence. Like, yeah, you really can pitch with these guys. Like, you could pitch against all these hitters. Who cares where they're from? And so, yeah, I really think it helped me make it. Like, I didn't do too well there, but it really helped me make that next step as a baseball player when I got the Pro Bowl. So
Kyle,
it really paid off in the end.
As a young man, or whatever you want to call me, I'm 38 years old. I just turned 38 a couple of weeks ago, and unfortunately, COVID-19 has been going on, so I haven't had a chance to really celebrate it. Anyways, let's get off me because this is all about you. Is your parents, your sisters, your brothers? I don't know how many brothers and sisters you have. Is there a particular person in your family that has pushed you to go as far as you have as a professional athlete?
No, definitely 100% my dad. My mom's obviously very supportive too, and she pushes me to do a lot. But my dad's always been there with me, whether it's like throwing me balls when I used to be a hitter at the park or having a catch or whatever. He's always kind of instilled like that mentality of like never give in or like never give up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Even in like simple things. I was playing like video games once, and like my dad was like there, and I was playing like Fortnite, and I was like playing against this kid, and I was like, crap, like I'm gonna lose. And then my dad was like, no, you're not. Like he was like all mad that I said that. And I was like, all right, my bad. It's just a video game. And like even like with little things like ping pong, like he's so competitive. Like, I'm very, very competitive, and he's kind of like instilled that in me.
Talk about as a younger pitcher, a lot of pitchers getting Tommy John surgery at a young age, and even going into high school and college baseball end up getting them. A lot of research has factored it into a lot of curveball throwing or breaking ball throwing at a young age. Do you think that is the primary reason, or do you think there's other factors that you've seen with pitchers either you played with or played against? And did your coaching staff ever make you throw a curveball when you felt like you weren't comfortable?
No, nobody's ever really forced a curveball upon me, but I do think it is a problem because kids' arms are just underdeveloped when they're younger, and a curveball and slider, obviously, like if you just even grip a slider, like it puts like your forearm gets tight. It does put more pressure, which at a young age, I don't think your arm could probably take that pressure. And because throwing is like unnatural enough, like, and if you're that young adding a slider, it's going to be even worse. But every little kid that I know, like kids, my cousins, whatever, I tell them never to throw a curveball until they're at least 15, 16. There's really no need for it anyway. But I tell them all to go fastball change up. But yeah, I think it does have a lot to do with it. Definitely. Yeah. I think that any coach that tells a young player to throw a breaking ball, doesn't have that kid's best interest in his mind.